Hey everyone, it's Holly here, and in this short video, I want to share 5 key things that you must be focusing on right now to ensure that your business continues to grow and thrive in spite of the unprecedented challenges that we're all facing as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, in the entrepreneurial world, especially in the online world, I'm seeing and feeling and hearing so much uncertainty, a lot of panic, a lot of fear. And it goes without saying, there are huge unknowns. Nothing like this has ever happened before. So there isn't, so to speak, a blueprint of the right way to navigate through this. And that's one of the most important things to bear in mind. But in this video, I want to share 5 practical strategies to give you some direction. Because as with every change ever in the history of humankind, there is always opportunity within that. And yes, it's tough. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, there is a lot of things outside of our control. But what is always within our control and always within our sphere of influence is how we choose to respond to what is happening right now in the world. And that is an amazing thing, because as entrepreneurs, we actually have so much more opportunity and flexibility than the average person who's maybe in a 9-to-5, because ultimately we get to call the shots. We get to decide how we move forwards in our businesses. So I really want you to see the possibility that is also available to you right now, and to be open to opportunities that might be unexpected, might have been something you never thought of in terms of how you choose to pivot during this time and how you might shift what it is you're offering to do things differently in this time of need of others. So the 5 key things, first and foremost, it all starts with you. So I just touched on that by reminding you that we actually do have a lot in our power in terms of how we choose to respond to the current situation. Okay, we can choose to feel like we need to withdraw, cancel things, give up, not bother, delay, postpone, or we can ask ourselves, how can I do things differently? We can ask, how can I show up? How can I serve and support my community? So all of this comes down to having a mindset that's actually supporting us during this moment in time. And first and foremost, start observing what is that mental chatter? What is the internal dialogue that's on a loop in your head right now? Is it completely consumed with fear and panic and uncertainty? Or do you need to shift that conversation a little bit to start asking yourselves more empowering and intentional questions to help you shift that mindset? And one of my favorite techniques to do this, which I call the flip the switch technique, is to simply recognize that if you're feeling negative, then ask yourself the question, how do I want to feel instead? Another of my favorite questions that I want to give you today is, if I knew the answer, what would it be? If I knew the answer, what would it be? Now more than ever is a time to think outside the square, to be creative, to not make assumptions. And it's all, as I said, comes down to your mindset. Now, how we can ensure our mindset's in a really great place is, of course, protecting our own health and well-being and prioritizing our self-care in a way that we never have perhaps before. Now we really have a heightened need to do that. And so no doubt you're already making changes with that regard. But a lot of us entrepreneurs can sometimes have that further down the to-do list because we're in that hustling mode and we're working crazy hours or whatever it might be. But now's really a time to look after yourself so that you can show up as the best possible version of yourself and also feel more empowered and equipped to be able to deal with the crazy times that we are all facing. Okay, so number 1 is to prioritize your mindset and your self-care. Number 2 is to really focus on how you can create and show up in your community and ultimately make meaningful connections. So now more than ever, everyone's online. Everyone is tapping into social media because it's the number 1 way in which we can connect. If we are stuck in self-isolation, if we're on lockdown, if we're away from friends and family and we physically can't get to them, now more than ever, we need to leverage the blessing that the modern age has provided for us, whereby at the touch of our keyboard, literally at our fingertips, we can access this whole virtual world online and communities through that. Now, in your business, you want to be showing up as the thought leader in your space. You want to be the person who's helping to rally the crowds, but be the person that is shining a light in this time that feels really, really dark, to give guidance, to give reassurance, to offer your services in a different way, but most importantly of all, to listen to your audience right now and where they're at, and be someone that they can reach out to. So if you don't yet have an online community, now is a brilliant time to create one, and a Facebook group is a brilliant way to do that. If you already have a community, then how are you being visible? How are you showing up? And what are the key messages that your audience need to hear from you? So that is number 2, create community and meaningful connection. That also goes, amongst all of that is also you seeking support and connection. You know, what amazing connections can you be making that could help you collaborate in your business, that could help create opportunities in terms of who you joint venture partner with, for example, who could offer you a sounding board for advice and tips and feedback. There is so much resource out there and so many people willing to support and help others right now, especially. So make sure you're tapping into that. The third one is, in a lot of downtime that we no doubt all of a sudden have, it's a fantastic opportunity to actually take a step back and review our systems and strategies. Okay, so if you've been putting off those website updates, if you know you don't really have a proper system in place for how you're collecting leads or how you are organizing your finances, now is a brilliant time to be focused on that and use some of this downtime that you may have available right now to put proper systems and structures in place, because ultimately this is going to optimize your current ways of working. It's going to strengthen your business and your business model, and it's going to help the day-to-day operations flow more easily so that when business picks up again, you can simply step up and show up and be the face of your business without having to worry about perhaps a lot of things that right now take a lot of time in terms of admin, or a lot of more hassle or cause delays or duplication simply because you don't have those proper systems and structures in place. Now is also a fantastic time to be stepping back and thinking about your overall business model and strategy and what might need to shift and what opportunities you can tap into that perhaps weren't a priority a month ago, but now could actually be a saving grace, could be a fantastic way forwards. But until we take that step back to put that thinking time intentionally into planning, then we have no opportunity to pivot whatsoever. So what systems and structures and strategies need to be reviewed in your business? How can you make the most of this downtime? By all means, watch Netflix as part of this downtime, but use this time meaningfully. Use this time to help yourself get ahead, set yourself up for success, and perhaps a way you haven't had the opportunity to do before because you've simply been too busy delivering. So that is number 4. And number 5 is that is number 3. Number 4 is adjusting your messaging and marketing. So a lot of people are worried that they're going to come across as perhaps insensitive or even inappropriate if they continue business as usual. And the key thing I would say to that is you probably do need to adjust your messaging and marketing to acknowledge and reflect the current climate. Okay, so it's still about showing up. So my biggest question that I'm hearing is, should I still be selling things? Should I still be doing marketing? Absolutely. The world is not ground to a halt. The world is still spinning. There are still people out there that want to invest in themselves, that want to upskill, that are looking for opportunities, that are looking for solutions that you can provide to them. And this is the key. It's about understanding where your audience is at. And that's why creating community and connection is so important, because we need to understand what is it that people want and are asking for right now. How can I pivot in terms of what I'm offering to meet them where they're at? And how can I adjust my messaging and my marketing so it's reflective of that? It probably does mean that some of your sales pages need a tweak, or some of your email sequences need a tweak. Your communication needs to feel contextually relevant right now. So that is definitely something to be focusing on and just reviewing and making sure that it is sensitive to what is going on in today's current situation. Because let's face it, we don't want to feel redundant, and we certainly don't want to feel that we're ignoring the current crisis. So really consider how is that helping you to stand out as a thought leader in your space and be perceived as someone who's really attuned to the needs of their community. And the final one, so number 5, is if you're not already online, or you're not online in a way that perhaps in the past you thought, oh, I've got an idea for this, or I really want to launch this online program at some point, but you never got around to it because you're too busy. Now is the time. So if you have a service-based business that does not yet have a really solid, digital presence, now more than ever is your opportunity to do that, because this is where it's at. And ultimately, there are very few services that cannot in some way be translated to an online product or service and repurposed in that way. So consider what you might need to do and how you might repurpose some of the current offers, packages, programs, and services that you have been delivering to your clients, and what an online format could look like for that. Or even another option in terms of a different offer that allows people to access support from you in a different way that's perhaps right now more feasible from an economic perspective. So for example, if you have typically always done one-on-one, which is higher ticket, how could you translate some of your knowledge, experience, strategies, gifts into perhaps a self-study course or other that more people can access at perhaps even a lower price point if that is feeling good to you right now. So getting online, repurposing, it all comes back to being prepared to pivot. We absolutely have to pivot in this time of the pandemic, one way or another, if we are going to thrive in our business. That is just a given. So we all need to be open to that change. We all need to be open to getting creative around that and considering alternatives and solutions. And that is why tapping into these communities and support from others is a golden opportunity to support you to do that. But ultimately, again, it starts with making sure that you are in your best shape possible from a health and well-being perspective and a mindset perspective, because we cannot make purposeful, intentional decisions from a place of fear. So that is why that is number one. So I'm just going to recap the 5 key things to focus on so that you can feel that you have some direction in terms of what to do next. So first and foremost, it's your mindset and your self-care. It has to start with you. Secondly, creating community and meaningful connection. Thirdly, it's reviewing your systems, strategies, and structures in your business and in your downtime. Fourth, it's adjusting your messaging and marketing so that you can feel really relevant right now to the current context and climate. And number 5, it's getting online if you're not already online, and getting online in a bigger way by repurposing content that could be accessed by more people at a time where you can truly have a positive impact in a far greater way than ever before. So I truly hope that these strategies support you. I would love to hear your feedback and comments. And if you haven't already signed up to my Plan C Summit, then make sure you do. This is a free online event where I've brought together a powerhouse of leading experts who are all sharing practical strategies and words of wisdom to help you protect your health, your wealth, and your sanity during this time of crisis. So we're going to be going into these strategies in far more detail and supporting you across that summit so that you know how to pivot with ease and with confidence. So make sure you jump on board, make sure you share it in your network so as many people as possible can benefit in a time when so many are feeling isolated, disconnected, and concerned for the future. I hope that this has inspired you, and I cannot wait to support you further.